Sukriti Joshi. Our today's topic for this video lecture is Introduction to different types of proteins, amino acids, what do you understand by DNA and RNA. So let's begin with the proteins first. Now, proteins and amino acids and even our DNA and RNA, so in general, proteins are considered as backbone or building material for any of the tissues, for any of the material. Proteins plays a very important role in our body. So let's see that what you understand by protein, where they plays such an important role. So proteins are among the most important and abundant substances which make up living organisms. The name protein was first given by Mulder in 1838 and was derived from the Greek word. The Greek word which was used is proteos. The meaning of proteos means to take the first place. That means proteos. So from that particular word, the name of protein came into picture. This have a variety of functions in human body. They plays a very important role even in different functions, as well as they start different functions or they work as main constituents in certain functions also. So some of those are fibrous, some of those are the main components of hair, of muscles and of skin. So it can be said that whatever which should be strong in our body, it is made up of protein. A number of them are present in the body fluids and serve as carriers of inorganic and organic compounds. In addition, proteins also helps in communication, like they behave as nerves. They also plays an important role in defense system of the body, which is known as immunity. So they plays a very important role as antibodies. They generate or they regulate or they do metabolic regulation. So they behave as hormones and they regulate metabolic activities also. And oxygen transportation. They do work by hemoglobin. So they work as hemoglobin to do the oxygen transportation throughout the body, throughout different organs, throughout the blood, with the use of blood. So in this manner, they plays very important role. They actually plays their role in each and every function. We are familiar with enzymes which acts as catalyst and which control many biochemical reactions which make it possible for us to live. So they work as enzymes, they work as catalysts, they work or they take part in biochemical reactions so that we can get energy from food, etc. Some of them are protein catalysts, which are essential constituents of our food. Animals can live without fat. Animals can live without carbohydrates. But animals can't live long time without proteins. They require proteins for their growth. We require proteins for growth, for cell growth, for building of the new cell, for maintenance of the cells, for maintenance of our routine day-to-day life. We require strength. That strength is provided by proteins. So they are actually the most important part in our body. If we talk about composition of the protein, then we can say that it is made up of different elements like carbon, like hydrogen, like oxygen, nitrogen as well as sulfur. Their proportion, the percentage of that elements are vary. So let's see that how we can understand the composition of these proteins. So the approximate composition of the protein can be given as follows. It can contain carbon between the range of 50 to 53%. It will contain hydrogen between the range of 6 to 7%. It will have oxygen which contains the range of 23 to 24%. Then we will talk about nitrogen which is present from 16 to 17%, and sulfur which is 1%. So as you can see it from the composition that the most important or the highest amount which is present in the protein is carbon, which we will get from plants, from fruits, from certain types of animals, etc. And carbon always gives strength, carbon always works as a building block so that the protein will work as a building block. That's how protein is actually a block, a building, or it is basically a block in our structure. It is a very important element in our structure. From carbs, fat and proteins, protein takes first position, and in that carbon takes first position. After carbon, the second element which will come into picture is oxygen. So oxygen generally it is available or it will be there in 23 to 24%, as well as nitrogen. So here C, O and N makes most of the part of protein. So it will be from 16 to 17%, and again nitrogen itself is basically a compound which we will get from different food sources, right? If we talk about the general food sources of protein, then we will get it mainly from the dairy products. Now, which dairy products actually contains a higher amount of or higher number of protein? So we can take here an example of milk. It's a very good source of protein. And we can take an example of cheese. We will have cottage cheese, which is also known as paneer. So paneer contains a very high amount of protein. It contains protein and fat mainly. The amount of carbohydrates is very low in it. Similar way we can obtain it from curd, which is also known as yogurt. We can get it from different types of meat. We can get it from eggs. We can get it from fish. Although fat and carbs are present in that particular amount, but it's available there. Like certain vegetables contains very high amount of protein. Say for an example, we can get spinach. We can get protein from spinach. It contains a very high amount. Amaranth, it contains very higher amount. Then you can move ahead to certain types of fruits like orange, like avocado or something else. So they will give you a higher amount of protein than that of any other particular source. Lentils, grains, certain types of grains contains protein. So in general condition, dairy products contains higher amount of protein than that of any other one. Okay? Now let's move ahead to the next part, which is DNA and RNA. Now proteins and amino acids plays a very important role, but they plays a most important role in any kind of in our genes. So it's basically made up of DNA and RNA, that is deoxyribose nucleic acid and ribose nucleic acid. So DNA generally contains, DNA and RNA both generally contains nitrogenous bases. Okay, and what is the meaning of nitrogenous bases? So when you deal with nitrogenous bases, at that time we will talk about, for DNA we have cytosine, guanine, adenine and thymine. So A combines with T, C combines with G. Same way, we will have 4 different nitrogenous bases in RNA, which is known as cytosine, guanine, adenine and uracil. A here combines with U, while C combines with G. Okay, generally DNA and RNA both contains sugar phosphate backbones, as well as you can see that here in the image there is a structure of your nitrogenous bases are given. So in structure you can clearly see this, that here carbon and nitrogen, and after that comes H. So these 3 elements plays a very important role in their structure. Okay. So deoxyribose nucleic acid, which is also known as DNA, is a molecule that contains the instructions an organism needs to develop, to live and to reproduce. These instructions are found inside every cell and are passed down from their parents to the children. Watson, Crick and Wilkinson are awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1962 for their discoveries concerning the molecular structure of nucleic acids and its significance for information transfer in living material. In 1953, James Watson, Francis Crick and Maurice Wilkins, and the last scientist was Rosalind Franklin, figured out the structure of DNA, a double helix structure. So in general manner, DNA contains double helix structure, which they realized could carry biological information, and that particular information will be given by their parents to their child. So it will be carried out from one generation to another generation, and that also carries the biological information from one generation to other generation. In that manner, you will get certain types of same to same effects in your next generations, coming up generations, the behavior, the look, the skin color, the hair color, the quality of hair, certain types of psychological information. So that things are actually been given from their parents, grandparents or great-grandparents to their child through DNA and RNA. So it's our genetic material. This is all for this session. Next we will see in our next session. Thank you so much.